Are you a beginner trying to build a website, but you don't really want that website to scream an amateur DIY to me? If that is the case, then don't fret. My name is Paige. I have taught quite literally millions of people how to build websites on Squarespace, and today I will help you do the same. Now, this is not your typical tutorial. We are going to be building this together. A website for an interior design company is the example I'll be showing you. So from finding your way around the back end of Squarespace, to styling the site colors and the fonts and the spacing and the buttons, to getting the content actually onto the page, you're gonna learn it all. Of course, please follow along the steps and advice and put together a site for whatever dream it is you're launching. But the hope is that by building a real site together, you'll actually understand how Squarespace really works. So let's get started. Step number one is to head to squarespace.com and click on the Get Started button. Now, in this situation, it will do one of two things. It will either just pull up a bunch of templates, as it's done for me right now, or it might ask you some questions about your business. To be honest, you can just hit skip on those because I'm going to tell you how you should actually choose a template, and it is not the way that they normally advise you to. So what Squarespace will tell you is it'll ask you details about your business, and then it will show you options. The problem is that if you are a yoga studio in New York City, for example, and you tell it that you're a yoga studio, then it's going to show you a bunch of yoga studio example websites. And then your website's going to look eerily similar to every other yoga studio website if you don't tweak it that much, which if you're just a beginner starting to build a website, you're probably not going to do too many crazy changes to the template. So I would actually suggest to you to just, again, if it asks you, skip those things, come to the entire template shop. And from here, I'm going to click on all templates instead of just the popular ones. And then we will see there's a whole lot of templates on this page. And the way that you want to choose a template is this. You want to think about which one of these templates is closest style-wise to the vibe that I want my website to look like. The reason for that is because I will show you how to go through and to change site styles and to tweak things and everything. But the more similar this website template that you choose is to what you want it to eventually look like just means less time spent fiddling around with the styles. When I say styles, I mean things like colors, fonts, button styles, that sort of thing. So let's take a scroll through and see which fits most. This one's interesting. Let's go for this. Okay, I'm going to go for Belisa. And obviously, so this example content here looks like some sort of cocktail bar. Yeah, that looks like a cocktail bar to me. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm going to build a website for an interior design company, but that's totally fine. Doesn't matter if the demo content in this template doesn't fit with the company, style, or industry which I'm building this website for. It just matters that the look and feel of it feels right, and this is going in the right direction, so I like this. I'm going to start with this design. And from here, it's going to ask me some questions. To be honest, I'm just going to click close on those for now. And you'll notice I have a very long trial. Your trial will probably be 2 weeks. Squarespace gives everyone a 2-week free trial. To be honest, it can end up being longer than 2 weeks. So if your website, if you're not done in 2 weeks, you can send Squarespace support a message and just be like, hey, do you mind extending my trial? And you can do it multiple times. I've never heard of them saying no. So, and don't worry also, if you get to the point where you're like, not done yet, not ready to pay for it yet, it doesn't delete your website and like the part you've gotten to at that point or the point you've gotten to at that point. So just a few like heads ups on the trial situation. So again, mine says ends in 182 days. I am a Squarespace Circle member, which is basically Squarespace's professional users. And that's why I have such a long trial, but yours will probably be 2 weeks. I'm going to close out the banner because I'm not ready to publish my website yet. So I have a clean slate. Now, let me sort of give you an idea of what's happening here when you look at this page. So on the right-hand side, we have the actual like demo of what your website looks like currently at this very moment. Now, the benefit of this, which I love, is if you've ever used something like WordPress before, half the time you go into this editor and then you put in the content and then you have to save it and then you go onto the like visual of the website and then it like looks basically what you're editing in doesn't look like as like what it looks like on the page, which can make it very difficult to edit the website, obviously. Whereas the benefit of Squarespace is that I can see the edits as I'm doing them, basically, where I can see exactly what it's going to look like on the page as I'm doing it, which I love. Chef's kiss. That's why I love Squarespace. One of the many reasons. Then what you will notice is on the left-hand side here, we have all of these sort of like navigation options. Now I will tell you, they change these things all of the time. And so if you're watching this tutorial and you're like, Paige, this does not make sense. Where the heck did that thing go that you're talking about? Let me introduce you to the search bar. Very helpful. So if I'm selecting something in any of the menus or the sub menus and you can't find it, just type it into this like search bar. So again, search bar is up here on top left, pulls up search, type in whatever it is, hit enter, and it will bring you up a list of options. One of them, which is probably the thing that you're looking for. So just want to bring your attention to that in case, again, they changed where things are quite a bit. So there's that. Okay, so that is that. The next thing that we want to do is actually to choose all of our styling and fonts. And now I know that this might seem like a strange place to start and you're thinking, well, I just want to put content on the page. But hear me out on this. I swear this is the right way to do it, and trust me. So the reason for this is if you get into building the content on the page and you add a heading here and some paragraph text there and a button there, and then you're like, no, it doesn't look right, and then you go change it. If you do that enough, it starts to get very confusing because you realize what you'll quickly realize if you haven't already is that when I go to a different page and change the style on that page, it's going to change on the home page, for example, too. And so you want to make sure that overall you are generally happy with the headings and the paragraphs and the button styles and the colors that you have, because when you change it in one place, it changes across the entire website and not just in the one place. So we want to make sure that we have everything cohesive together. So what I'm going to do in this situation, and I would encourage you to do this with me, click onto pages on the left-hand side, and we're going to create a new page in the not linked section. So in terms of building out pages in your website, we have things in the main navigation. You'll notice location and contact are there, and I can see them in the top navigation. So anything that you put up here in main navigation will appear in your main navigation. So let me just drag this home item from the not linked section up to the main navigation, and you will see it now appears in the main navigation. I would just say, FYI, best practice is people typically know these days that if they click on your logo or that your site title, which will change in a minute, that it will bring them back home. So you typically don't actually need to waste your like important home navigation real estate with home. So we're just going to drag that down to the not linked section again, but that's just to show you how you take something from like being an existing page on your website. It's just not linked to from the main navigation. That's how that works. That homepage, even though it's in the not linked section now, it exists. It's still there and functioning and published and everything, but they get to it either by clicking on the your site title, or alternatively, if it's another page like your frequently asked questions page, for example, is not important enough to go in your main navigation, but it is beneficial to have on the website. And so you would just link from it somewhere else in the website. And I'll show you later how we get to that doing that. So stay tuned. Down in my not linked section, I want to create a page, which I'm going to call the mood board. So let me just click plus, and I'm going to select a blank page. So now there is, as you can see, a ton of different page types that you have inside of Squarespace. A blank page is the one that you will typically work with the most. Page layouts, just so I can give you, I just want to preview that with you, is basically pre-done layouts already. So if you're again new and you're not quite sure how you should be doing this, you can look here and see if there's any sort of layout which fits what it is that you want to do. Now they have created layouts for different typical pages you'll have on your website. So if I click to the about area, then you'll notice that this is like a very typical layout for an about page. Or if I click on the contact page, you'll notice that they have things like a form in here on these pages or a map. And those are again typical blocks and pieces of content you would have on a contact page. Same thing if I go to services page, it's probably going to give me areas for lots of text to talk about those different services. Now again, I'm just going to start with a blank page, but if you want to take a peek at these sort of like pre-done layouts, feel free, but again, we're just making a mood board in this case, so we don't really need one of those layouts at the moment. So I'm going to call it mood board, and I'm going to click the edit button, and then from here, there's currently no section on the page, so your page is built up by a number of sections. So I'm going to click add section and add a blank section. Now from here, to actually get things onto the page and not just have a beautiful white space, what we need is to add blocks to the page. So all of your content on the page, text, buttons, photos, etc., those are all different block types. So I'm going to click in the top left-hand corner, add block, and here are all the block types. The main ones that you use the most often are towards the top. So the text, the image, the button, the gallery, video, form, audio, etc. And then as you scroll down, you get into like less frequently used ones. So yeah. The first thing that I want is some text. So I'm going to have a text block here. The text block is defined by the blue rectangular rectangle. And so once I click inside of said rectangle, I can type in whatever my little heart desires. So I'm going to put heading 1, heading 2, and I would encourage you to do this on your website as I'm doing it. Heading 3. Do I have heading 4? Yes, I do. Heading 4. Paragraph. Link. This is the important bits. Okay, so why the heck do I have all that text there? What does that mean? This is what it means. So if I wanted this piece of text called heading 1 to be larger, so I'm on my, let's say you're like making your homepage and you think, okay, I want some really big bold text at the very top. That makes sense. How do you get it to be that size? You can highlight said text, and then up here, as you can see right now, it says paragraph 2. I'm going to click on that and select the font type which I want from this list. So heading 1, I'm going to make the text that I wrote of heading 1 match to heading 1. There we are. Now you'll notice it just did something very odd. It's like divided the word in a very odd way. The reason for that is because the retainer box is not large enough to hold that large size of text as one word. So what I can do is I can click on the blue rectangle, one of the little square bits, and click and pull that to the right-hand side. And now the space is larger and the word heading does not get broken up anymore. So that's that. Then I'm going to do the same thing for heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, and again, do the same on your website. So click on paragraph 2, select heading 2, heading 3, match it to heading 3, heading 4, match it to heading 4. Paragraph can actually stay the same. And link, I want to link this text to somewhere else. So coming back to the point which I made earlier, which is like, say you have a frequently asked questions page and it's not important enough to be in your top navigation. What you can do is you can just, on any page, you can say, by the way, have a question? Check out our FAQ here. And then FAQ here, you would want to link that text to the FAQ page. So let me show you an example of how you do that. You just select the text, and then up in this little text bar, you click on the thing that looks like a link, and you have a few options. You can link it to another page in your website, which are currently the options that are dropping down for me. I can link this to an external website. So say I want it to link to my Instagram page or something. You could paste in the link of your Instagram.com / whatever your name is on Instagram. And then the other option we have is link to a file. So if you wanted to, when they click on that, it downloads a PDF. That's an option. Another thing is if you want it to open up the email, like you're on my Mac, it opens up by whatever that email app is, which I actually never use. Or alternatively, if they are on a cell phone and you put in phone and then you put in the details like the phone number, then when they click on that link with the phone number, it will, in their like iPhone, Samsung, whatever, open up the phone number, which they can actually like call right away. So they don't need to remember the number, type it in. That's how that works. So anyways, what I want to do is link it to, let's link this to the homepage just for example purposes. So I don't need to like know what the link is, and especially because this website isn't live yet. I actually don't have a domain name, like website link connected or anything, but that's fine. I can just select a page within my website and then that's good. In terms of opening it in a new tab or not, we're going to leave it because it's a page within my website, so I don't want it to open in a new tab. So I'm just going to click off, and now we'll see that the link text has an underline, and that might be a slightly different color. It's not that different, but that's okay. We can change that in a moment. So that's the important bits. Now I'm just going to drag this block of text more into the middle. So I'm going to click and drag it over. You will notice that there is a grid with all these little rectangles across the entire page. And so basically your Squarespace site will snap this to whatever like the closest grid is that you are dropping it at. So I'm going to drop it there. And then the other thing which I want to do to finish off my mood board and setting the site styles and everything is to put on some buttons as well. So let me click off of my text block, and I'm going to go back to add block, and I'm going to select a button. And now I obviously don't want my button sitting over top of the text. That doesn't make a ton of sense. So I'm going to click and drag the button to where I want it to be. Lovely. And I have 3 different button types. So, primary, secondary, tertiary. So I'm going to add 3 buttons so I can set the styles of the 3 different button types, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go back to add block, select another button, drag it over to where I want it, and select one more block, add button, drag it over to where I want. And again, I need to set these to be the type that I want it to be, if that makes any sense. So instead of primary, the first one's primary, second one is secondary, third one is tertiary. Okay, good. Now let's actually go into the style editor and change some of these things. So if I want my buttons to be a different color, or if I actually don't like that heading font or something, this is the point at which I can fix it. But again, adding it all to one page like this, I find is very useful, because if you add a heading here and add a heading there and you're into the actual like building and adding content of the website, this can get confusing. So let's hit save. When I'm in like this, I can't see the navigation down the left-hand side. I can just see the like whole page is full screen here basically. When I'm in this area, I'm inside the editor until you actually hit the save button. Then whatever you're doing is not if your website was live right now. Say you're redesigning a website which is already currently existing. Until you hit the save button, it doesn't show to the outside world, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. If you have questions on how to redesign a website, how to deal with the fact that it's live and not showing things to people on the website when you don't want them to see it and everything, I actually have another video about that. I'll link that above and in the description below in case that's your situation. But anyways, just so you know, until I hit the save button, whatever I'm doing in the back end, I can completely change this, and no one on, like, it's not in live time updating for people, if that makes any sense. Okay, so just so you know that, I'm going to go back to exit so I can actually get into the site styles. So site styles are this little paintbrushy icon in the top right-hand corner. So I'm going to click on that. And this is where, coming back to the template, which we chose originally, this is where it gets important. So these styles, if you chose a different template, are probably going to look different than mine. So this template has chosen this beige color and white, and maybe that's dark brown and a purple, and it's chosen that specific font, heading, and everything. It has the look of the buttons and the forms set as well. So if I want to tweak this, if I'm not super happy with this, then I can click into, say, the text options. And this is the font package, which has come with this template, but I can change that if I want to. So I'm going to click into all font packs. And what they've done here for you is very convenient. Squarespace has basically already figured out, if you're not a designer and they're like, here's what looks good together, they've basically figured that out for you. So you can scroll through and you can see, do I like any of these like pairings of fonts? I'm going to go, that's sans serif. I'm going to go with serif. Serif are the ones with the little like fancy bits on the edges of the letter. And find a mixture, which I like. And then, so this is serif fonts, serif headings mixed with serif paragraph fonts. And then if I click mixed, then I'm going to get a mixture of serif and sans serif fonts together in one font package. Let's see what fits for the vibe that I'm doing. You know what? I kind of like the original one. I'm actually going to leave it, but if you wanted to change it, you would just literally click on whichever one that you want. So I'm going to go back to that. In terms of the size on these things, if I click into headings, for example, I have quite a few options back here. I can make it automatically italicized or just normal. I'm going to leave it back with italicized. I can decide how much space is between each line. I can decide how much space is between each letter. So here's an example of that. That obviously looks ridiculous, so let's not do that. We're going to leave it at 0. I think that honestly looks good. Text transform, if you want it to always be uppercase, always be lowercase, whatever it is, I'm going to leave it on none because I prefer, like, I can just type it capitalized if I want that word capitalized without making all of my headings automatically capitalized. And then you can also change the size. So if you're not loving whatever the current size is, that's fine. You can just play around with these little scrolly bits to change the size of all of the headings. So that's, again, why I mentioned, like, it's useful to have them all put out there, because then you can just see relative, because you don't want, like, heading 3 and heading 4 to be almost the same size, because that would be redundant and not useful. So that's why it's good to see them sort of like all in a row on one page while you're getting started. Okay, so you can play around with whatever you want back there with your fonts. Then you can do the same with paragraphs. It's all basically like the same options. I didn't put paragraph 1, 2, 3. You could do that. It's the same method and everything. But do know that there are 3 paragraph sizes too. And then the colors, I'm not loving the colors so much, so I feel like there's actually more things I want to change here. So I'm going to go into Edit Palette. Up here, you can see exactly which colors are currently existing. And again, that's set by the template. And so I have a couple of options. I like quite a few options. There's a million ways you can pick your colors here. The easiest way, I'll show you that, is presets. So basically, again, Squarespace has gone through and they've figured out which colors look cohesive and good together, and they've put together these like preset packs. So I could select, for example, this one, and I would see that up here, my colors have changed. Let me see, which do I like best? You know what? Beige on beige on beige on brown. That sounds good. Let's go for that. Okay. The other way that you can set your colors, by the way, is if you have a hex code. If you don't know what a hex code is, this probably isn't for you. If you do know what a hex code is, it's basically a 6-digit long mixture of letters and numbers that defines a very specific color shade color. So if you've worked with a brand designer, for example, and they've given you hex color codes, then you can pop those in so you get the exact same color on your website that is in your logo, for example. Alternatively, you can do it by RGB or HSL. Those are the main ways you can do it. The other way you can do it is you can just click and drag here and here to also change it, but that's probably less specific. So anyways, let me just go back to, again, the color palette, which I had picked from the options. I'm going to go back to colors, and color themes are a bit of a complex thing to wrap your mind around. So I'm going to leave those for now and maybe come back to that one later. Okay, next up is the button styles. So let me go into the primary button and see what my options are. So I can choose so many things to change on this. So I can choose the font to change on this. Now the font that it's picked, by the way, is again from the original font packs. However, I can pick something else. If I don't like this one, then I can go to Browse All Fonts, and you will see that you have quite literally thousands, tens of thousands of options of different fonts here. I will just warn you, don't get too crazy. When people choose like a different font for this button and a different font for that button and a different font for all these different places on their website, it starts to look a little bit messy. So if it's your first time, maybe don't go so wild there. Style, again, it's like if you want the text italicized or not. You can also change the weight. So if you want this to be like really bold button, they can change it to a higher weight. Text transform, again, if you want it like all uppercase, for example, it actually looks quite good. You know what? I might leave that. So there we are. So that is the, you can also determine how much like padding and spacing is around your button, left and right of your button, those sorts of things. And sort of padding within the button too. Then you can click onto the secondary button and the tertiary button and then change anything there that you want to change as well. I'm going to leave those as is for now. And then finally, we have forms, which I don't have the form on the page right now. No, let's add one, and then I can show you this. Save. When I click save, everything which I've done will be set. And then I'm just going to click exit. Sometimes if it doesn't like load and give you the edit button, just click exit and you will get to where you need to be. Let's add a form block to this page. So I'm going to click on add block and then the form. And then obviously I don't want it over top my text. So we're just going to click and drag. And as you'll notice, as I move this block, the section basically expands to whatever thing I'm putting in that space. You can expand a section in one of two ways. One, just add a piece of content and drag it around where you need to be, and then it will again expand to fit that. Or alternatively, if you see this little, don't know what that's called, thing on the bottom right-hand corner, blue item with lines, basically, you can click that and that will expand or contract the section height too. So yeah. Okay, so now I have the form onto there. I can go back into Site Styles to style the form. So I'm going to click on Save, and I'm going to click on Exit, and then I'm going to click back over to my Site Styles, which is the little paintbrush in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to scroll down so I can see my form. I'm going to scroll down here and select into the form options, and then it again has like pre-designed form packs for me. So I can select one of these, and it will change what the form looks like. Which one do I like most? Ooh. I think I like that one. Or there we are. That's good. Minimal. Beautiful. But yeah, as you can see, whole bunch of form options there for you. Again, if you don't like the preset form packs, you can change anything that you want. Padding, spacing, border, effects. Is this a square? Is it rounded? Whatever you want it to be. So play around with that at your fancy. And I'm gonna close that and hit save. And now what I've done is I've created a mood board. Basically, I've just set the styles of all the important things on the website is pretty much what I've just done there. So now I can get into actually building something. Okay, so the page that I want to build with you in this example is the homepage. Now, as we can see, a homepage already exists. If I click here, you see it's called home, as the original content of the template in it and everything. You can either get started with the page that already exists and just like swap in your own content. Granted, it's going to look very much so like the layout of the template probably if you go that way. So I'm going to actually create like just a completely new page. The other thing, coming back to if you are redesigning this website now or at any point in the future and you're thinking, I want my homepage to stay the way it is to public viewers as it is now, I want to create a new homepage. How do I not have the viewer see it as I'm like midway through redesigning this thing? That's what I would say. You create a new homepage. You leave the old one as is for now. You leave it up and live. And then when you're ready and the like new homepage that you've designed is fully completed, then you can basically swap which one is set to be the homepage. To set something to be the homepage, you can see on the left-hand side, there is a little home-looking icon on the left-hand side of the homepage. And so that shows you which of all these pages are the homepage. If I wanted the mood board to be the homepage, what I would do is I'd click on the settings icon, and then I would click set as homepage, confirm. You'll notice the little home icon has moved beside the mood board as opposed to beside the homepage. So we'll leave that for now because it's not important. Let's create a new homepage. I'm going to click the plus button again. Again, I'm going to put this in my not linked section as opposed to the main navigation section. Reason for that being, I don't want this page as I'm working on it, if this website was live, to be seen by a bunch of people. If it's currently not live at all, then you can put it in your main navigation. That's fine too. It doesn't really make a big difference. I am going to select a blank page, but let me just kind of quickly run you through the different types of pages that you have in Squarespace here too. So blank page is what I created the mood board based off of. Page layouts I've already showed you. Scheduling is if you, as it says, book appointments or classes. This is a page where they can go on, they can see a calendar and they can like select the different dates and times of the yoga class they want to come to, for example, or the therapy session they want to have with you. Collections are things where a bunch of things live within one page. So a blog is a prime example of that. There is one like main blog page where you can see the giant list of all of your fabulously written blog posts. And it kind of like is a page that houses a bunch of other smaller pages. So like each blog post is its own smaller page. You don't need to create a new page for each blog post. You just create a blog and then create a new post in the blog. Let me just show that to you real quick. I will just select the layout I want from the example options. Blog 3, cool. And then when I click into blog content, that's where you actually add new blog posts in. To add new blog posts, you just click the plus button, And I can write my post in here, but we're gonna, again, come back to that all later. I just want to show you an example of a blog page. So going back to website, you delete out that so I don't confuse anyone. Click back on the plus button. Okay, so different collection types: blog page, store page, probably also straightforward. It is a page that hosts all of your different products. So again, it's kind of like one major page, which you can have the individual products within. Then a portfolio, if you are an artist or an interior designer or a web designer or anyone who needs to showcase your work, then a portfolio page basically allows you to have one page where you then people can click in to see the like individual projects. Events is like, again, a calendar. It's not one where they can book, like scheduling is where they can actually like book and pay for an appointment in your calendar. An events calendar is just like a digital calendar that they can see what's happening maybe at your, I don't know, location in the coming future. Videos, courses. We won't get into that point in this tutorial, but I might have another one. I have a past video on that. I will link that too in the description if you want to learn about that bit. And the other ones are not as common, so I want to go into those for now. So coming back to wanting to actually design my homepage, I'm going to select a blank page to do so, and I'm going to name it New Home. Oops. Okay. So I've just typed in and hit enter to name that page. Now we'll notice that it's an empty page. There's no content on there. So what I need to do again is to click the edit button, and it will say add a page section. I'm going to click add section, and let's choose one of these pre-done layouts to get me started. I'm gonna go for this guy. And the first thing I want to do is change out the images. Obviously, this is going to be the website of an interior design company, so this is not quite the image that I'm going to need. So in order to do that, I'm going to click onto the image itself that already exists on the page. I'm going to click on the little edit button. When you click on any block on your page, again, you'll get these like options that pop up. This is to layer them. This is to delete it. This is to edit that option. So I'm going to click on this giant image which exists, full width image, click on the edit button so I can get rid of this image and put in the one that I actually want to put in. So I'm going to click on the delete button, and then I'm going to click on add an image, and I have a few different options. First one is to upload my own image. Second one is to select from my library. Now, because this is a brand new website, there are currently no images in my library because I haven't uploaded anything. Basically, everything that you upload into Squarespace, it's going to live on in your library. And so you don't need to like go re-upload the same image if you want to use it on a different page 6 months from now. You can just go select from the images that are already inside of your Squarespace site. And then the other thing is we can browse stock images. So if you don't have your own images, that's another option too. I'm going to click on upload a file and select one from my desktop, which I've prepared. In terms of best practices, you do want to prepare these images beforehand. I won't get too deep into the weeds of what that means right now, but basically you would want to rename them and resize them so that they optimally load and are in sort of like best format for SEO. But again, we're not going to get into that right now. Let's just pick a pretty picture. Let's go for this one. Select and hit open. Lovely. And then the other thing which I want to do, so I'm going to click off to close out this image editor. Then I want to swap out the second image, which we have here. So I'm going to click on edit on this one, delete, add an image, upload file. Let's find another complementary photo. Okay, wonderful. With this image here, so you will notice that the image which I selected is a vertical ratio image, but the space in which it's currently sitting is more, not quite a square, close to a square. Basically, it's chopping off the bottom and the top of this image. If I want to fix that, I can either take this focal point and I can drag it up and down, and you'll notice as I do so, it changes what you can see in the image on the left-hand side here. That's one option, is to change your focal point, or the other option is to change the container, the blue bit that the image is living inside of right now. So if I click off to get out of the image editor, then I can click back onto the image, and then I can use these blue bits to pull and drag to change the container, basically. So if I wanted to see more of the image, I could do so, like so. The other thing which I can do is click and drag it. I'm gonna bring it down a bit on the page. Let's go there. Okay, so next thing I want to do is add some text onto here. Now, if you have an image like I have here, it can be a little bit challenging because there's a lot happening in the image, and so it's hard, especially with the, ironically, make it stand out. You can't see it, and it doesn't stand out that much because it's currently on top of a curtain and a mirror. And so we can change up the text, move around the text, add a background to the text. We can do a variety of things to make it easier to read, basically, and that is very important for your website. But first I need to know what text I'm actually putting on here. So what I'm going to do is, this is my homepage content planner, which basically guides me through what content I'm putting on the page. It's sort of like a bit of advice if this is your first time building a website, what exactly should go on your homepage, best practices for your homepage, design and layout and content and everything. So if you would like this, feel free. Again, I'll pop it in the description below. It's a homepage content planner. Okay, so I'm going to copy the text, which I have pre-written, and come over to my homepage. And we need to get this text into this layout. I can also change the layout, which I might very well do, depending on how the text sort of fits into the space or how it works with the images or doesn't work with the images. So the first thing I'll do is I'll click on a text block, double click, to highlight the text, delete it, and paste in Command V my text that I've pre-written. Now this bit here, at Rel & Co, I think that could be very nice as the very large text. So I'm going to delete that out, click into this bit, which is my heading text, paste that in. That looks quite good, but obviously the problem happening here is that it's actually quite difficult to read the text, and that is a problem. So we have a few things we can do in that situation. The one thing is we can add a background to the text or a shape behind the text. So let me show you how that's done. Clicking off of my text block, I need the add block button to appear. So let me just refresh this. Sometimes when it doesn't, the best thing to do is just save, exit, and come back in. Okay, so now my add block button is back. I'm going to find the shape block, drag that down, maybe here. And now the shape is over top of my text, but I want it the other way around. So I'm going to click here, move backward, and that will place the shape behind my text. If I clicked it again, it would go behind the image and you wouldn't be able to see the shape at all. So I'm going to move it back forward so we can see it. Now, it doesn't look good having the text go right to the edges of the shape block. So I'm going to click on the edges of the shape block and pull it out on all sides. There we are. And now I want the @Rel & Co to be above. I actually kind of like it sort of overlapping the shape. So I'm going to, I like that, but what I don't like here is that it's like so close towards the top, it feels a bit odd. So I'm going to select this text block plus the shape block and the other text block. So I'm going to hit Shift on my computer, select the shape block and the second text block, and now all three are highlighted. So again, to do that, I just clicked Shift on my computer and then selected all three blocks with my mouse. And then I'm going to pull that down a little bit, or put it to the left. Let's see. I'm going to select these two items. Again, just hitting Shift to select the two. Maybe I'll go like this. Looks okay. Maybe I'll pull this image here actually over top here. So I'm going to select this image and click and drag it to come there. And then I actually think it would look better now, a bit more vertical. So I'm going to click on the top of the shape block to pull it up, and the bottom of the shape block to pull it, or sorry, not the shape block, the image block to pull it down. I think in order for this to look a bit better and for this top image to stand out on top of the bottom image, it's going to make sense for me to darken the bottom image a bit. So I'm going to select the bottom image, click on Edit, click on Design, and then Overlay, turn on the overlay. And then in terms of the color, let's see. Which color is it? Oops. Okay, I obviously don't want it fully dark. Oh, that also looks kind of nice too. Okay, so let's go. So I've selected, I have a few different color overlays. Now they are like full 100%. And I want it to be more transparent. So I'm going to pull this down. Let's see what it looks like with the different colors. And these color options, by the way, are coming from the color palette that we originally set in the site styles, just so you know. Which one looks best? Maybe that one. Or no. I'd say this one looks best. Okay. So I'm going to click off to get out of that. I like that. Let's click save. Refresh it and see. How do I like that? I don't love it. This is, by the way, when you're designing websites, you will quickly learn that it's basically a game of drop and drag and see how it looks and see what you like. In this case, I'm actually not loving this. So I feel like there's too much. I feel like the reason that I don't love this right now is there's too much green happening in this image. And it's not, the colors aren't sort of cohesive between the image in the back and the image on the front. I'm not loving that. So actually I might just delete this guy. And you know what? That itself doesn't look too bad. Or let's see how it looks if I move it all to the right-hand side. 1, 2. So I'm just hitting Shift on my keyboard and I'm selecting all three options again to pull all three together as a group. Don't love that either. You know what? Let's pull it down to the very bottom. Maybe we'll center align this a bit more. So I need to grab this. And over. I'm going to center align the text. So I'm just clicking into the text block. Oh, it actually is center aligned. I can see that here. That's right align, left align, center align. That's good. Okay. Then let's try taking all three items. Again, hitting Shift to hold all three. Move them. Where is the middle? You know what? It's not, can't be dropped into the middle because I have an uneven number of options. There we go. Okay, when I have the yellow line, then I know that it's centered, if that makes sense. There was this. Here we are. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Five, 6? No, it needs to be one more. There. Okay. That, I think, looks a bit better. Let's see, do I want the text that wide? Gonna pull it a bit further down. Ta-da. Okay, I think that looks pretty decent. So that is our first section. Now we want to go on to the other bits of the page, the other text on the page. So let me go back to my content document and I'm going to copy the next piece of text, which I have written. And in order to add it onto this page, I could add another section, or alternatively, I could drag this section to be longer. And I think that's actually what I would like to do in this situation. So I'm going to click and drag to add more space into this same section. And then I'm going to add a text block and pull it to where I want it to go. Oh, no, why aren't you moving? There we are. Okay, we're gonna pop it here, make it a little bit wider, and then I'm going to paste in our text. Now, introduction to our style, I feel like that should be some sort of a heading font. So let me go for heading 4. Okay, now I think it's always nice when you're designing the website to have a number of images so you don't just have like text on text on text. It gets a little bit visually boring. I'm also going to break this up so it's a bit more broken into paragraphs. There and there. That looks lovely. Now let me add some images. So again, this has some visual interest and isn't just a random block of text. So I'm going to go add block, add an image, click on the plus button and upload something. Let's find another beautiful photo. This one. Going to make it a bit bigger. Clicking and dragging. Okay, so that's one. Maybe I'll add a few more images to layer on top of this one. So I'm going to add another image block. Click the plus button, click upload. Maybe this one. Take this and also make it a bit taller. How do I like that? I actually quite like that side by side. Let's just make it aligned with the text. So I'm going to select both of these images. Again, I've clicked on the one image, I hit shift, I click on the second image. I can drag them both together now. I think that looks pretty good. There we go. That is more, so I'm very specific, but the fact that the text isn't quite going to the same, like as far down, it needs like one more line to make it further down. So because I don't have any more text that can be sort of broken into paragraphs, I'm just going to hit shift and return. So it's like one line break with the introduction to our style. And then it's therefore the same vertical height as the images on the left-hand side, which I prefer. Then I'm going to click and drag here to again make the section a bit taller. I don't typically like when my section goes like right to the bottom of the content. I don't love the look of that. So I'm going to click and drag a bit more. That looks good. So there's first section, second section. Technically, actually, that's all one section, but yeah. Then let's go back to my page content planner and look at my calls to action. So I have 2 calls to action for the 2 types of services that this interior design business is offering. So let me click add section and add a blank section. And then the purpose to add another section, as opposed to just continuing on the section you're already doing and pulling it this further down to make it a longer, taller section, is because you can change the background on the section when you have a second separate section. So I'm going to click on edit section. I'm going to go to colors and I can select a different background color for this. And again, these colors are pulled out of the site styles, which we set at the very beginning. So I think I like this. Let's try this. I'm going to, again, per usual, this is how I design websites, add content, play around with it, move it around. It is not immediately perfect. Okay, add block, text, paste in my call to action text. So introduction to our style. Oh no, we already have that text. Let me change that. Here we are, full service interior design. There we go. Okay, so I want full service interior design to be quite a bit larger. Don't love that. Gonna try another heading. Going to add an image, upload, For this image, I think I would actually like it sort of pushed right to the very left-hand edge of the page. So I'm going to just move my mouse over to the left and it will auto snap to the left-hand side of the page. Now, however, the box has moved to the left-hand side of the page, but the image itself is not right to the left-hand side of the page. So let me show you how to fix that. If I click into the edit button and go to design, right now it's set to fit. So the image is going to fit perfectly within the rectangle that you have there. If we click fill, then the image is going to fill the rectangle. And as I pull the rectangle, the image will grow and sort of change to fill the space. So let me click to make it a bit taller. Good. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a call to action button below. So let me move that back up again. And I'll add another image. A bit more visual interest. This one is quite a plain image, my first image. So I think a second image over top would look really good. Want to change the proportion and ratio of this one. I'm going to also have it fill. Click over to design and then fill. That's better. Maybe we don't want it quite so wide. There we go. That looks good. There, I think that's best. Okay, so we have some images. That looks lovely. Have our text. Now let's add a call to action button, add block, and then let's click on the button block and drag it down here. Lovely. Learn more is a good call to action, so I'll leave the text itself, but I want to just show you how you would link this button. So if we click here, edit link, you will notice that these are the same link options that I showed you when we talked about linking a piece of text. So we can link to another page. We can link to a website externally. So let's say, I mean, it doesn't make any sense for this call to action, but let's say, for example, you want to link it to your Instagram, instagram.com/Paige Breton, for example. Put in whatever link your little heart desires. So that is that. That's our one section of our full service interior design. Then we can basically take this same section design and do it again for our second service offering. I find that looks quite good. To make that easier to do, as opposed to rebuilding all of and adding each block to the right place, I'm going to click the duplicate button. It will redo the same section design, but I want to maybe change the background color. So I'm going to click on edit section, colors. Maybe I'll go for lighter brown. That brown, this brown. Let's say this one, I think looks good. Okay, so, and maybe I want to flip-flop the sides that these things are on. So I'm going to select my first image block, hit shift, select my second image block, pull it over to the right-hand side. I'm going to select my text block and my button block, again with shift, to pull that over to the other side. And then these two, obviously, I would like to have the taller image to the right up against the wall of the website, and then the other image flipped. So I'm just going to drag this over and pull this image over the other way. That's good. And then I'm going to change out the images. So I'm going to select on my image, click on the edit button, delete this one. Let's find another. Lovely. And I'm going to change this image too. Select on the image, hit edit, delete out the old photo, add an image, upload. And what looks good? There we are. Okay, now this one I'm not loving how it's going so far to the edge of the page, and maybe up here too. So I'm just going to click here, pull in this text block so it doesn't go quite as far to the edge, and then I'm going to do the same here, pull it in by one block, and then move the text block, shift the button block over to the right. That's better. Okay, actually I feel like these two images, the colors aren't very cohesive, so I'm actually going to change this one, delete that, add another. There we go. Those two feel better together. Now the other thing which I want to change is I obviously don't want to do full service interior design twice. So let me get the other text for the second call to action. What is my second service option? Room by room redesigns. So I'm going to select the text here, delete that out, paste in the other text. I'm just going to take that out to redo the title, highlight that, and paste in room by room redesigns. Lovely. Call to action, explore room designs. No, actually, delete that. And I'm going to add a paragraph so it feels like it fills a more similar vertical amount of space as the previous one. That's a little tip for you, is as you're writing your copy or as you're going to design the website, if you're finding that if this one has, say, 1 line of text and this one has 5 lines of text or something, then it looks not great. They look unbalanced. So just keep in mind to try to keep, if you have like similar designs or side-by-side designs, to keep a roughly similar amount of text, unless you're really trying to like break some design, which you can always break the design rules, but you tend to want to have a bit of experience when you do that. So, okay, let me delete this out, but I hope that gives you a visual example of something that looks good and not good. There. Okay, do I have, good. Okay, that's lovely. Let me see what okay, the next bit is some testimonials, which I have here. So create another section, add section, blank section. Paste in client name, let's say. There we are. And maybe for this one, maybe I do want like a very simplistic sort of style with just like side-by-side testimonials. Add block text, drag this one here into the middle. And a third. Okay, and then I want a similar amount of vertical space above and below each of these text blocks. Now you'll notice here, when I go to pull up the little blue toggle, it won't let me because this text block is taking up too much space. So if I delete out, there seems to be a space at the very bottom. If I delete that, then that will delete out, or it'll make the box shorter. So that's good, and that allows me to make this more the size I want it to be. Let's see, can I move it up further? No. Okay, good. That's good. So we have my 3 testimonials, call to action, little homepage, looks lovely. I'm going to hit save on this and then refresh. And the next thing I want to do is look at how this looks on mobile. So this, so far, we've just been designing it on desktop. What does it look like on mobile? We're about to find out. In order to see that, so Squarespace will do its best job of taking the content which you've put on the page and tweaking it to fit on from a screen like this to a screen like this. It doesn't always get it perfectly, so we need to often tweak it. So up here in the right-hand corner, you'll notice we're on desktop view right now. We can switch over to mobile view, and we can also edit on mobile view too. So as you can see, as you scroll down, you can see like all the assets are there, but in very odd orders. So that's what we need to fix on mobile. So I want the @Royal&Co at the very top. So I'm going to move that up. I'm going to bring the larger paragraph text down. I can see that it's currently sitting behind the shape block, which I don't want. So I'm going to click move forward. So it's over top the shape block. I also need a bit more space. This one's in my way for right now, so we're going to move you down. I will resize the shape block so it better fits to the height of the text, which I'm using. Pull the text over top of it, and I want the text to not be going wall to wall on the shape block, so I'm going to bring it in a couple. Pull it over, that's better, and actually then I need to make this taller again. There. And then I'm going to bring this down, and nice if it overlaps a little bit. Let's bring it forward. There. Okay, that looks good and similar to the original design which I had on desktop. So that's good. Then let me go back again to desktop to see what the next bit looked like. Okay, image, and then this on the side. Let's go back to mobile. And so this, let's actually see, let's put these two images side by side as they kind of were on desktop. So you need to be made much smaller and pulled over. There. Okay. Then maybe we'll take the two images above the text, hitting Shift to select them both, pulling them up. Oops, lost one. That's good. That there. Lovely, and now I have a bit of blank space happening at the bottom, which I don't really want, so I'm going to pull this section up. And as you can see, it honestly, so as things drop in a weird way onto mobile, it takes a little bit of tweaking here, but honestly, it doesn't take that much effort. Once you've figured out the desktop design, you can pretty easily recreate it on the mobile with just some slight tweaks. So let's see this one. I wanted one image over top the other image, so let's see if that makes sense here. Make you smaller. So we go like so, and then pull this section down so I have more space. Pull the button down and the text down, and that looks a lot better. Also, I want to maybe change the focal point on this image so it's more towards the top. That looks better. Okay, here's one, and let's do the same design to the other one. So I want one image larger, one image smaller. This one, it looks pretty good. I think I just want space in between the individual testimonials. When it comes to, so sometimes these, you can see here, these two text blocks are overlapping. It's typically best practice to make sure that whatever, unless again, you're ready to break some rules to keep the boxes not overlapping. So I'm just going to pull this box up and pull this box up. And that one was already done, so that's fine. And now there's a bit more space between the three testimonials. So that is good. Okay, so there we go. That is mobile design. So basically, you're just finding the blocks that have fallen in strange places and basically redropping them so they look good on mobile. So let me hit save on that. And then we can look at our desktop view, which looks like so. And then also our mobile view, which looks like so. So now if I wanted to actually make this my homepage, I need to do a few tweaks. So first thing is I need to get rid of the word new because that is not good for my SEO. Deleting out new in the page title, the navigation title, and, actually it's gonna give me an error in a second. Yeah, okay, the URL is already used, home is already used. So I'm gonna leave new in for now in the URL slug. You can only, there can only be one home page, one about page, one whatever page. So let me go back to, so this is currently the home page. This was the original that came with the template. I can either change the URL slug on this one, like home-old, or I can just delete the page. In this case, I'm going to delete the page because I don't really need it. Go back to this home page, click on the settings for the page, and now I can have this just be /home as the URL slug. Click save, and that is good. And then the other thing which I need to do is obviously make not my mood board the homepage, but my homepage the homepage. So I'm going to go again back into settings, way to the bottom, set as homepage, confirm. And you'll notice the little home icon has now gone to beside the homepage. So that's perfect. Now, the other thing which I want to do is I want to edit the header. There's some different navigation options I would like up here. So I am going to delete out the two which are already existing. And I'm going to add in some different navigation options. I'm going to add, for now, blank pages. Just rename them for what I'd like. So work with us is one. For now, again, that's a blank page, but I could go on to redesign that. Another one, which is going to be called portfolio. And contact. And now I would actually like those in the opposite order. I want the contact as the last option. So I'm going to click and drag. What you have vertically here happens left to right on the actual website. And I want work with us to be first. So I'm going to click and drag that up, and you'll notice it switches there. So what you have in main navigation top down is what goes left to right on the actual site itself. The other thing I want to do, let's take a look at the header. I'm going to click on to edit and then edit site header. First one is my site logo. That is not great. Let me see, what was the name that I had for this business? It's called, oh yeah, Rel & Co. To copy that, paste it into there. Alternatively, so if you don't have a logo right now, what you can do is you can just write in whatever the title is, and then you can use in the site styles, there's an option to change the site title. And so you can have it as something different than all the other text on your website. I'm just going to leave it as is. Alternatively, if you have a logo, you can click to upload just like you upload any image into an image block. So those are two things to know. I'm going to hit on edit design of the header, and I can choose the sort of layout and what goes where. So let's say logo in the middle. Maybe I'll go for this one. That's good. There we are. I like that best, I think. So this bit here basically just reorganizes the order of the items. Is it the logo on top and then the navigation options below, or logo in the middle and navigation options on the left? You basically choose whichever organization you prefer. Hit save. Then there's a few other things which I want to show you. So we have just been in this pages tab, website pages tab, basically the entire time so far, but as you can tell, there's a lot of other options happening here. So I won't show you everything because we don't have 97 hours in this tutorial, but I will show you some of the most important ones. So let me head into products and services. If you go to products, you have a few different options of the types of products that you can sell through your website. You can sell physical products, so something that you actually send in the mail, a couch, for example. That's one option. Selling services, so that is you doing like interior design services for someone else. So something doesn't actually get mailed to them, but you do something for the person. Downloads is some sort of digital download, so audio files, ebooks, templates, those sorts of things. And then gift cards if you want someone to be able to buy a gift card for your website. Those are the types of products. Now we have other options too. If you head into the scheduling tab, so this is where you can sell anything that's sort of like an appointment type. It can either be a free appointment type or a paid appointment type. So let's say, for example, if you were a therapist, that is something where someone books in for your calendar for a certain day and time, and then they pay you whatever amount they pay you per hour to come and do therapy with you. Alternatively, if you had a yoga studio or you had some sort of creative classes or anything, again, this can be used for individual sessions, so like a one-on-one therapy session. Alternatively, it could be used for like an entire yoga studio group class, and then also buying packages of group classes. There is a lot of options back here. So do know you can set up your different appointment types. So say you have hatha yoga and vinyasa yoga and hot yoga and whatever else it is, partner yoga, those can go into your different appointment types. You would add new type of service or new type of group class and add in whatever it is, put in your pricing. This is the scheduling page. It gives you sort of a preview of what it would actually look like to clients if they, again, wanted to schedule in for maybe a therapy session with you, the sort of like layout and look and design of that. This is an extremely robust tool. So again, if you have any sort of scheduling needs in your business, then this is very worthwhile you taking a look at. But I will just run over that quickly in today's session. And then we have the next bit is content and membership. So it's another type of thing that you can sort of sell on your website. And this is very exciting. They did a beautiful job with this. So if you want to sell an online course, for example, a membership site, if you want certain things on your blog or like an entire blog to be just like locked to only paid blog subscribers, those are the like other options which you basically have to sell things through your website. So no matter if you're selling physical products, services, courses, appointments, like you can, it's amazing. No matter what you want to sell, you can do it these days on Squarespace, which is super convenient. I do have a courses tutorial, so if you do want details on that, I will actually link that tutorial for you so you can go get like a deep dive into setting up sort of like this side of the website. But that's just to give you a preview of the different types of things that you can actually sell on here. Now, the other thing which Squarespace has more recently added is their sort of like invoicing feature. So this is very convenient for myself. I'm a website designer, or if you do anything else where you say like this website is for an interior designer, this would be a situation where you probably send an invoice, they would make a payment on that, maybe you sign a contract, there's a proposal, whatever it is, that Squarespace also now has those features too, which is, again, very convenient. And so you can see in here all of your, it's kind of boring now because there's nothing in here, but in future you can see like all the invoices that you have and that are paid and everything. You can see all the different projects and the clients that you're working with in here. So it's a little bit like they've created a CRM system inside of Squarespace now, which is fabulous. The other thing I want to bring your attention to is the marketing section. One thing which is very interesting is the email campaigns option. So you basically can like run your email list through Squarespace, very convenient, or alternatively, more related to the actual tutorial that we're doing today is this pop-up and announcement bar. These are two typical, like very frequently used design options that you would put onto a new website. So let's go through that together. Let's click on the announcement bar. I'm going to enable the announcement bar. And this is an announcement. Okay, let's say, for example, we're doing flash sale, 20% off all pillows. Lovely. And let's say, for example, we had a store. I'm going to highlight this and then click the link of where I would like this to go. Let's say, again, if I had a shop set up on this website, I could link to that shop, for example. I won't link anything for now because I don't actually have a shop page created on this website, but that gives you an example. You can link all of the text or some of the text here, or alternatively, you can put the link where you want to go down there. Either way, mostly the same difference. So that is an announcement bar. Use that for whatever you think makes the most sense. If you have some sort of event coming up, you have some sort of sale going on, there's some, I don't know, closure because of snow or heat or anything, I don't know. You can put that all in your announcement bar. It's best for very short, quick, easy to understand messages. So that is the announcement bar. And the other thing that I want to show you is the promotional pop-up. There is quite a few different design options that you have for this one. So I'm going to go to change layout. And as you scroll down here, you can see all the different design options. The thing which I love, and one of the reasons that I use Squarespace, is because all of this just comes included, whereas on other website building platforms, you need like a plugin to add a pop-up, to add a shop, to add do your email list and to sell your services and everything. Whereas with Squarespace, it's all just in there, which just makes it so convenient for you to use. So anyways, if you're watching this tutorial and you're already this far, you're probably already sold, but anyways, just that's the reason I love it. Okay, so I like that design. That looks good. Let me go back into the promotional pop-up area. Action. Oops, unsaved changes. Stay. What do I have unsaved? I'm not sure. Spring sale. Okay, actually we can leave spring sale. Let's do our pillow thing. Save 20% on all pillows until Friday. Save. Then, what do I want to do? I would like it to go to the pillows page, for example. And again, this is where you could link to whichever page you actually want it to go to. Again, you'd probably put it in your shop page in that case. This one, I actually don't want anything here, so I'm going to delete that out so it will get rid of the second button. Save. Alternatively, as you can see here, we can have the option be either like they click a button to another page, or if we have it this way, they would actually be asked to like put in their name and email address, for example. And you can change and tweak the details if you don't want to say email address, something else, whatever it is, their actual address. And you can click here. So in terms of storage options, you can have it connect automatically if you want to use Squarespace for your email marketing. You can have it connect to your Squarespace email campaigns. Otherwise, there are some other options of where you can have it sent to as well. In terms of verification, you can decide if you want reCAPTCHA or not. So that makes it that you get less spam email addresses. And then also in post submit, you can also decide once they click on subscribe, for example, do you want it to say something afterwards? Maybe you're giving away a freebie in this case and you're promoting, in my case, say my like homepage content planner. I could use this pop-up to promote that homepage content planner, which I've showed you throughout this video. And then here I probably don't want to say thank you. I probably want to give some instructions like, perfect, now go check your inbox. I've sent the planner that way or something. So you can change whatever the text is that you want it to say after they have hit whatever the like opt-in button is. Okay, I'm just gonna hit cancel because I don't actually want to connect it to email campaigns. That's good. Okay, now image and style, kind of important. Let's upload something. Do I have a photo with a pillow in it? Here, that has pillows. Great. I'm again going to use my focal point to get the pillows a little bit more in view here. So I'm just pulling the focal point down. There we are. We can see my pillows better. Lovely. That's a gorgeous pop-up. Image, style. Let's see. I can change the color. So actually you can see here, it's quite difficult to read this bit of text, the save 20% on pillows until Friday. So I should probably do something about that. So in the body text, maybe I make the weight significantly heavier. That helps. Maybe I have it be all uppercase. That helps. And then background color. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Here, image overlay. That's what I want. So to make the white text stand out a bit more from the background, I still want to be able to see the image, but I want to see the text a bit more. So I can use this here. This is the image custom overlay color. I can choose if I want a certain color or shade or whatever. And then I can choose how transparent or not transparent it is. So maybe let's go like that. And then I can see really clearly. That's good. Button actually is kind of now difficult to see because it's black and it's kind of similar. So I'm going to change the button color to white and the text color on the button to black. That's good. Lovely. Okay, save on that. That's good. And then display and timing, when do I want it to appear basically? Do I want it on a timer? So that's like anytime someone's been on the website for 5 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever, it pops up. Or alternatively, it could be on scroll. So once they've scrolled halfway down the page, then it pops up. You can choose what you want it to be. So let's say 50% down. There we go. And they can choose, do you want it to show on mobile, not show on mobile? Do you want it to show again? How often do you want it to show again? There's all those options there for you too. Now to round out this tutorial, what you will probably want to do next is actually launch this website to the world. So let me show you how you do that. So I'm going to click on the settings button and then we'll see a few things. So site availability, if we go into that, we can see that right now only people who are contributors, so people who are basically managing the website, can actually see the website right now. That is fine. But if I want to actually have this website published to the world, we need to upgrade and pay for a Squarespace plan. So you can build the entire website while you're on your free trial. And again, you can extend the free trial if you need to extend the free trial. Just again, send Squarespace an email or use their like support live chat option. And from there, once you're ready, this website is ready for the world, then you can click upgrade to publish. We can see here the different plan options. I will just give you a heads up. The thing which most people I find need is actually the business plan. That is the most frequently used plan. If you are getting into selling things on the website, so you're selling physical products or something, then that is when you might want to look into some of these more advanced plans. But again, the business one is what I would say like 80% of people, if you're just starting on a website, you don't have you're not selling some physical product through it, that's probably what you're going to want. You can choose to pay annually or monthly. I do actually have a discount code for you, which gets you 10% off whatever purchase you make. It's called Page 10, PAIGE 10. You can pop that in at checkout. It'll get you 10% off. So I would suggest you actually go for the annual plan because it'll get you 10% off annual as opposed to if you get 10% off monthly, it's just the first month. But up to you. I won't take you any further in this tutorial because I don't want to actually make this website live. But what I will say is as you go through the options, it will give you details. You can put in your business address, your payment details, and again, you can use, if you want, the codes to Page 10 to get 10% off whatever plan you choose. That is an affiliate code, by the way, so I make a commission if you use that, so thank you very much. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much. This has been a very long tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and congratulations on launching your new website. Now, knowing the tech of how to build a website is one thing, but making it look good is quite another. Nothing says I'm an imposter business owner quite like bad design. But what exactly is bad design? Watch this video next and I'll share with you the outdated design trends that you definitely want to avoid on your website.